Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today we're doing a deep dive into gold IRAs. These are retirement accounts that let you hold physical gold like silver or even platinum. And a lot of people are looking into these as a potential way to protect themselves against inflation.
Yeah, exactly right. It's definitely something that's gaining popularity these days. And it's kind of a unique approach to retirement planning.
Yeah, for sure. And, if you're thinking about, like diversifying your retirement portfolio or you're a little bit worried about inflation, this is something that you really should understand. And actually, I know a great resource if you want to learn more about this. There's a website called Gold IRA Blueprint, and they have a free checklist that you can get at goldirablueprint.com exclusive. They can help you choose the right gold IRA company because there's a lot of options out there, and it can be a little overwhelming.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Having the right guidance is really important, especially when it comes to something as crucial as your retirement savings.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's start with the basics here. Like, why would someone even consider a gold IRA in the first place?
Well, I think one of the biggest reasons is that it's a potential hedge against inflation. We've all seen how inflation can kind of eat away at our savings over time, and gold has historically held its value pretty well during those inflationary periods.
Yeah, that's totally true. I mean, look at what happened in the 1970s, right? Inflation was a huge problem back then, and gold just, it surged in value while other assets were really struggling.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good example of how it can be a safe haven when the economy's a little shaky.
Exactly. It's like an anchor in a storm.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. And speaking of storms, diversifying your portfolio is another big plus with a gold IRA, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's like that old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Gold tends to move differently than stocks and bonds. So if those markets take a dip, your gold holdings could actually help cushion the blow a little bit and make your overall portfolio more stable.
Yeah, it's not just about growth. It's about, protecting what you've already earned.
Right. So let's talk about actually setting up a gold IRA. I mean, this sounds kind of complicated, but Gold IRA Blueprint says there are three basic steps.
Yeah, it's actually more straightforward than you might think. So the first step is to choose a custodian. And that's a company that specializes in holding and managing gold IRAs. They take care of all the details, the paperwork, the secure storage of your precious metals and all that stuff.
Gotcha. So finding a trustworthy custodian, that's
hmm
step one. What's next?
Well, next you need to fund the account. You can do that with direct contributions, kind of like, making regular payments into a traditional IRA.
Hmm.
Or you can roll over funds from existing retirement accounts. Like if you have a 401k or a traditional IRA, you can move those funds into your gold IRA.
Ah, rollovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. But aren't there some things you need to be careful about with rollovers? Yeah, there is one important thing to remember. It's called the 60-day rule. You have 60 days to move those funds into your gold IRA without getting hit with any penalties. So just keep that in mind. It can save you a lot of trouble.
That's a great tip. Okay, so we've chosen our custodian. We've funded the account. What's the last step?
Well, now comes the fun part. You get to select your gold products.
Mm.
But there's a little twist. You can't just buy any gold. It has to be IRS approved. It has to meet certain standards for purity.
So there are rules to this game. So what kind of gold does the IRS actually like?
Well, there are a few options. You've got things like American Eagle coins, Canadian gold maple leaf coins, or you can get bullion bars that meet those purity requirements. These are the gold bullion coins that are recognized and traded all over the world.
So you can't just, go to a pawn shop and buy a bunch of gold chains and throw them in your IRA.
Ha ha, no. Unfortunately not. The IRS has those rules to make sure that the gold that's held in these retirement accounts is high quality and it's legitimate. But those approved coins and bars, those are the real deal.
It's all about, long-term security and knowing that you've made a smart investment. So Gold IRA Blueprint recommends a few specific companies: Augusta Precious Metals, Goldco, and Birch Gold Group. What makes those companies stand out?
Well, those companies have built up really good reputations for things like transparency and customer service and the range of products that they offer. Augusta Precious Metals, they're known for having clear fees and being really committed to educating investors.
Hmm.
Then you've got Goldco, and they're known for their amazing customer support and having really competitive prices. And then Birch Gold Group, they're known for having a really wide selection of gold products. So you've got more choices when it comes to figuring out your investment strategy.
It sounds like they've done a lot of research to find good companies, which is really
Yeah.
helpful for people who are just getting started. But I guess it's always a good idea to do your own research too.
Right? Oh, absolutely. You shouldn't just take anyone's word for it, not even ours. Compare the fees, look at the storage options, read those customer reviews, make sure that you're really comfortable with the company that you choose before you hand over, your hard-earned savings. Remember, this is your retirement. So you got to take the time to learn and make informed decisions.
That's great advice. And speaking of learning, we're going to continue our deep dive into gold IRAs after a quick break. If you want to get that checklist that can help you choose the right gold IRA company, just visit golderablueprint.com. Fourth and again, exclusive. We'll be back in a few minutes with more insights.
Welcome back. So, we've been talking about the potential benefits of gold IRAs and how to actually set one up.
Right. Now, I think it would be good to talk about specific strategies for using a gold IRA to, protect against inflation.
Yeah.
Gold IRA Blueprint talks about a few different ways to do that.
Yeah, they do. And each one has its own little quirks and things to think about.
Okay, cool. So let's start with the most direct approach, which I guess is investing in physical gold. Right? You're literally holding gold coins or bars in your hand.
That's right. Yeah, you're actually owning tangible gold, and it's stored securely, on your behalf.
Yeah. There's something kind of cool about holding physical gold.
Yeah.
It's like you're holding a piece of history.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, gold has held its value for, hundreds, even thousands of years. But you bring up a good point. Where do you actually keep this stuff? That's where the custodian comes in. They work with these secure storage facilities to make sure your precious metals are safe and sound.
Right. That makes sense.
Oh.
But I bet there are costs involved with that storage, right?
Yeah, you're going to have storage fees. That's pretty standard. And they vary depending on the custodian and what kind of storage you choose. Some places offer segregated storage where your gold is kept separate from everyone else's. Or you can do commingled storage where it's all pooled together.
So if you're really worried about security, maybe segregated storage is the way to go, even if it costs a little more.
Mm. Exactly. Yeah, it all comes down to, what you're comfortable with and how much risk you're willing to take. Now, as far as the types of physical gold you can get, Gold IRA Blueprint mentions a few that are really popular, like American Eagle coins, Canadian gold maple leaf coins, and South African Kruger rands.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of those. Aren't those the ones with the really cool designs on them?
Yeah, exactly. They're some of the most well-known and widely traded gold bullion coins in the world. They're known for their purity, and, they're just beautiful to look at. But no matter what you buy, you got to make sure that any gold you get for your IRA meets those IRS fineness requirements. It has to be a certain level of purity.
Makes sense. You want to make sure you're getting the good stuff. So, okay, investing in physical gold, that's one strategy. What else can you do to protect against inflation inside a gold IRA?
Well, another option is to invest in gold mining stocks. And this one's a little less direct. Instead of owning the physical gold, you're investing in the companies that actually mine it.
So it's like you're betting on those companies, hoping that if the price of gold goes up, the value of their stock goes up too.
Yeah, that's the basic idea. The thinking is that if gold prices rise, the mining companies are going to make more money, and that could lead to higher returns for the investors who own their stock. But this approach can be a little riskier than just owning physical gold.
How so? What makes it riskier?
Well, with mining companies, you have to think about more than just the price of gold. There are other things that can affect their profitability, like how well they're managed, how efficient their operations are, even global events can have an impact.
So it's not as simple as just saying, okay, gold is doing well, so this mining company's stock must be doing well too.
Yeah.
You have to kind of evaluate the company itself.
Yeah, you really do. If a mining company runs into problems, their stock price could go down even if gold is doing great overall. So this strategy requires you to do a little more research, a little more due diligence than just buying physical gold.
So you really got to understand the company and their track record and, who's running things before you jump into gold mining stocks.
Oh, absolutely. You got to be okay with the risk that comes along with it. But if you're looking for, potentially higher returns and you're not afraid to take on a little more risk, then gold mining stocks could be a good option for your gold IRA.
Okay, so we've talked about physical gold and gold mining stocks. What's the third strategy that Gold IRA Blueprint mentions?
The third option is gold ETFs, which stands for exchange traded funds. ETFs have become really popular lately. You hear about them all the time on the financial news.
Yeah, I've heard the term, but I'm not really sure what they are. What makes them so, appealing, especially when it comes to gold?
Well, gold ETFs give you a way to, kind of ride the wave of gold prices without actually having to own the physical gold. It's a lot easier for a lot of people to get into.
How does that work? What's the mechanics of a gold ETF?
Basically, a gold ETF is like a basket of assets that follows the price of gold. When you buy shares of a gold ETF, you're not buying gold directly. You're investing in a fund that holds the gold for you.
So it's like a combination of owning physical gold and investing in mining companies.
Yeah, you could say that gold ETFs have some of the benefits of both. Like physical gold, they give you exposure to gold prices, but they're much easier to buy and sell. You can trade them on stock exchanges just like regular stocks. And unlike mining stocks, you're not taking on the risk of any one specific company. So it's a little more diversified.
So they're easier to manage and potentially less risky than mining stocks. What are some examples of gold ETFs that people might want to look into for their gold IRA?
Well, Gold IRA Blueprint specifically talks about the SPDR Gold Trust, which people call GLD, and the VanEck Gold Miners ETF, which is GDX. Those are two of the most popular and actively traded gold ETFs out there.
And I'm guessing they probably have lower storage costs than physical gold because you don't have to actually store the metal yourself, right?
Exactly. That's another big plus. You don't have to deal with all the hassle and expense of storing physical gold. The ETF provider takes care of all that for you.
So it's a more streamlined and accessible approach. Okay, so just to recap, we've got three main strategies for potentially hedging against inflation with a gold IRA.
Right. You can invest in physical gold, you can invest in gold mining stocks, or you can invest in gold ETFs. Each one has its own pros and cons, so it's really important to think about your goals, your risk tolerance, and how much you know about investing before you make a decision.
It's all about finding what works best for you and your situation. And of course, it's always a good idea to talk to a financial advisor. They can help you figure out which strategy is right for your overall retirement plan.
Absolutely. They can help you assess your risk tolerance, figure out your investment objectives, and see if a gold IRA makes sense for your overall portfolio.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. It really depends on you and your financial goals, how much risk you're willing to take.
Exactly. And, diversification is super important. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. A gold IRA shouldn't be your only retirement investment. It's just one piece of the puzzle.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You want to spread out your risk and make sure you have a solid retirement plan.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about the potential upsides of gold IRAs, but I think it's important to talk about the other side of the coin too. Are there any downsides or things people should watch out for?
That's a really good question. You know, Gold IRAs can be a great tool, but it's important to go into it with your eyes open. You know what I mean? You got to understand the potential downsides too.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what are some of the things that people should be aware of? What are the red flags?
Well, one thing is that gold doesn't generate income the same way that some other assets do. Like stocks can pay dividends, bonds pay interest.
Yeah.
But gold itself, it doesn't really produce any kind of ongoing income stream.
Right. So it's more of a long-term play. You're hoping that the value goes up over time.
Exactly. And even though gold has historically done well during times of high inflation, the price can be kind of volatile in the short term. It's not like it's completely immune to, market ups and downs.
So it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's more about, preserving your wealth and hopefully growing it slowly and steadily over the long haul.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to think about it. And then another thing to keep in mind is the cost. We talked about the storage fees for physical gold, and gold IRAs in general, they tend to have higher administrative costs than traditional IRAs.
So those fees can really eat into your returns if you're not careful.
Yeah, they can. So it's super important to shop around, compare the fees from different gold IRA companies, and make sure you understand exactly what you're going to be paying before you sign up. Transparency is key.
Right. And like we've been saying, it's always a good idea to talk to a financial advisor. They can help you make sure a gold IRA is a good fit for your overall retirement plan.
Absolutely. They can help you figure out how much risk you're comfortable with, what your goals are, and all that good stuff.
So it's not like a one-size-fits-all solution. It's really about finding what's right for you, your financial situation, and your, comfort level with risk.
Exactly. And diversification is so important. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. A gold IRA shouldn't be the only thing you're relying on for retirement. It should be part of a bigger, well-rounded portfolio.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So if someone's listening to this and they're thinking, oh, okay, this gold IRA thing sounds pretty interesting. I want to learn more. Where should they go? What resources would you recommend?
Well, the Gold IRA Blueprint website is a great place to start. They have tons of information on gold IRAs, like educational resources, and they compare all the different gold IRA companies out there.
And they have that checklist we talked about earlier, right?
Yeah.
The one that helps you choose the right company.
Yeah, they do. It's a really useful tool for anyone who's just getting started with gold IRAs. You can find it at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive. It's free, and it can save you a lot of time and headaches down the road.
I think we've covered a lot of ground today. We talked about the potential benefits of gold IRAs, the potential downsides, and some different strategies for using them to protect yourself against inflation. It's been a really informative deep dive.
Yeah, it has. And hopefully people feel like they have a better understanding of gold IRAs now and they can make informed decisions about whether or not it's something they want to include in their retirement plan.
I agree. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your finances. So if you want to learn more about gold IRAs, head over to goldarrayblueprint.com/Gulf exclusive and grab that free checklist. And be sure to tune in next time for another deep dive into a different financial topic. Until then, happy investing.